Hello, fellow aviators. Welcome back to Aliong'o Aerosphere, your hub for African aviation insights, from technology and market trends to careers and investment opportunities. Join us in exploring the future of African skies and elevating African aviation because Africa can. Flying to Africa, choosing the right airline can make or break your trip. Some airlines offer great service, direct routes, and affordable fares, while others, well, let's just say you'll wish you did more research. You see, recently I flew from Montreal, Canada to Nairobi on a British Airways through London Heathrow. We got stuck on the tarmac, thereby missing my connecting flight. So British Airways put us on an Ethiopian airline flight to Addis Ababa, then Nairobi. Our flight from Addis Ababa to Nairobi was delayed by over 5 hours, and so did multiple other Ethiopian connecting flights. And when I got to Nairobi, my luggage was missing. Checking with British Airlines, the baggage had been added to Ethiopian Airline in Heathrow on time. It took me over a week to retrieve my luggage in Nairobi. For getting this long wait, my high-end suitcase was all damaged and wrapped like a sack of potatoes. I went to the baggage claim desk and Ethiopian Airlines referred my case to British Airways, which ended up being a ping pong between the two airlines. Now, I don't know about you, but when deciding who to fly with, what metrics do you use? Now, today we'll rank the best airlines flying to Africa, look at passenger reviews and ticket prices, and break down how SAATM will change the way you travel. And SAATM is the single air transport market for Africa. Let's dive in. Right now, if you're flying to Africa, your best airline depends on where you're coming from, your budget, and how much value comfort. So let's break it down. Number one is Ethiopian Airlines. It's the Africa's most connected airline. You see, Ethiopian Airlines is Africa's largest airline and serves more destinations than any other African carrier. Over 60 African cities, plus direct flights from the US, Europe, and Asia. Now, it's best for extensive route network. Mostly African cities covered, affordable economy and business class fares, and a modern fleet. We have several Boeing 787 Dreamliners and Airbus A350s. Now, what are the drawbacks on Ethiopian Airlines? Flying on Ethiopian Airlines, just keep in mind long layovers in Addis Ababa and instant customer service. Now, an example of a fare is, for example, New York to Nairobi via Addis Ababa. You're going to pay around $980 round trip. And when you check for the passenger reviews, Ethiopia scores 4.3 out of 5. Number two is Kenya Airways. It's best or the best direct route to East Africa. Now, Kenya Airways is the only African airline that flies direct from the US to East Africa. Their New York Nairobi route has been a game changer, connecting passengers to Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and beyond. Now, Kenya Airways is best known for the only direct US East Africa flight, and then quick layovers for connections to Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, and then comfortable long haul service. You can lie flat beds um, in a business class. What are the drawbacks? Kenya Airways has higher fares compared to Ethiopian Airlines. They have fewer destinations than other major carriers. Now, an example fare on KQ from New York to Nairobi, you'll pay around 1,200 round trip. What are the passenger review rating? It's 4.1 out of 5. Number three, we'll go to Qatar Airways. Now, Qatar is the best Middle Eastern airline for Africa. Qatar Airlines offers a 5-star service and connects over 30 African cities, making it a great option for luxury travelers. Now, it's best known for luxury experience. They have the Q Suite, world-class lounges, and they have frequent flights and reliable service. Great business class fares, absolutely. Well, you have to fly through Doha. At times, it might be a long layover. That's one of the main drawback for flying Qatar. Not the fastest option for intra-African travel. So if you're flying within Africa, absolutely, think of it that you'll have to connect through Doha to come back to another African city. For example, London to Nairobi via Doha is a $850 round trip. And what are the passenger review status? Is 4.7 out of 5. So best service I've ever had, but the layover was long. For Turkish Airlines, most direct routes from Europe, uh, Turkish is known best for extensive European and African connections, great food and service, affordable business class fares as well. And the drawbacks are layovers. You gotta go through their main hub, their home base in Istanbul. Now they have limited African domestic routes. So if you're flying within Africa, then yes, you're going to hit a drawback when it comes to this when flying with Turkish. An example of how much you'll pay for fare: Paris, Lagos via Istanbul, you'll pay around $750 for a round trip. Their passenger review, 4.5 out of 5. Number 5, you're looking at Royal Air Maroc. It's the best North African airline. Now, Royal Air Maroc is a great choice for travelers heading to West Africa with smooth connections through Casablanca and direct flights from major cities in Europe and North America. Now, best for direct flights to Africa from New York, Washington, and Europe, and actually Montreal as well here in Canada. Shorter layovers in Casablanca compared to Middle Eastern hubs. So that's something to keep in mind. They are expanding and Morocco is growing. Their fleet and services, meaning quality, is getting better. What is the few drawbacks to keep in mind? Fewer routes to Southern Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa, inconsistent customer service. An example for how much you'll be paying: for New York to Lagos via Casablanca, you're paying around $870 round trip. Passenger review, you're looking at 4.0 out of 5. Number 6, we are talking about EgyptAir, best for North and East Africa. Strong network in North and East Africa, direct flights to Cairo from major global cities, competitive pricing compared to other Middle Eastern airlines. Drawbacks: long layovers in Cairo for some routes. If you drink alcohol, well, no alcohol served on EgyptAir, so you gotta stay sober. An example of fare is London Nairobi via Cairo is $780 for round trip. Passenger review is 3.9 out of 5. Number 7, we're looking at Delta Airlines. This is the best US airline for Africa. They have direct flights from the US to Accra, Johannesburg, Cape Town. Solid business class options, absolutely. Reliable baggage handling. The drawbacks are, of course, they have limited African routes and expensive compared to Ethiopian Airlines. An example for fare is Atlanta, Accra. You'll pay 1,300 round trip, and that is non-stop. So, how will SAATM change all this? With the single African air transport market implementation, then we'll see more African airlines competing on international routes. For example, Air Peace launching direct Lagos-London flights. Right now, few African airlines, as you can tell, compete on long-haul routes. But with the single African air transport market, expect Air Peace, Rwanda Air, Air Tanzania, and so forth to expand globally. Number 2, there's going to be more direct intra-African flights. For example, Kenya Airways expanding west Africa connections under the single African air transport market. So the single African air transport market is going to remove all these bureaucratic restrictions, meaning airlines like Kenya Airways can launch more direct flights from Nairobi to West Africa. Lower ticket prices for you. Absolutely. Ethiopian Airlines versus Air Tanzania competing on the Dar es Salaam, Johannesburg route. More competition, lower fares. So I expect ticket prices within Africa to drop by around 20 to 30% in the next decade. So what do you think? Will the single African air transport market finally make flights cheaper and easier within Africa? Or will politics continue slowing down progress? Drop your thoughts and comments, and don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insights from Aliong'o Aerosphere. See you in the next one. Kwaheri kwa leo. Thank you.